You know, I used to play this character quite a lot, and I really enjoyed it, but they just kept on making these strange changes to her, seemingly not to balance the character or make it more well-liked, but to make it less disliked, which is kind of a strange angle to come at that with. It's like they sucked out everything that was special about the character gradually, and lately Katarina's design has felt a bit like a big juicy looking burrito, but then you bite into it and it's filled with nothing but lettuce and a handwritten note that says sorry to bother you. But Katarina has a big fat list of buffs right here, and she's been looking at me from her corner of the roster going, come on frame, Hakuna Maitadas, you know. Try my slam on for size, play stick with that kung fu grip, let the banana split and watch it go straight to my thighs. That's one of my favorite songs of all time, by the way. So let's have a look at these buffs. Let's try and find out if Katarina has more than just junk in the trunk. So the first change is to your 3-3, 3-3-3, and this is a string that they've modified many times for this character, and they've tried to find a role for it. Currently, it's her 14-frame block punisher and her wall ender. And so the change is that it's gone from +1 frame of advantage on hit to +4, which I think makes perfect sense because this is used as, it's kind of a multi-purpose purpose tool. It's moved closer to something like machine gun punches, where you're trying to like trick people to walk into it, and if they get caught by any of the individual hits, the rest of the string becomes natural. But use it as a minor whiff punisher and block punisher, maybe after a step. You get 38. It's not huge for a 14 frame to impact move these days. We have characters like, you know, Zafina, who can get really massive stuff for 14, so I think this is perfectly balanced. It could have been +4 to begin with. It's also not a huge change, but now that you have a bit more advantage here, it's easier to maintain momentum after you punish with this. So it's a good change, but it's nothing huge. Next, during Harrier 1, I think this is probably the biggest change. I'm going to save this for last, actually, because it's probably the one I'm going to be talking about the most. Next, we've got Toucan Tail. Toucan Tail has gone from... Sorry, we're going to talk about this move first. Down for 4. Frame advantage on hit from +2 to +4. And we can tell that it is, yeah, it's +4 now. This is a good move. It's a really strong go-to counter hit launcher for the character. 15 frames to impact and a mid, safe on block. Really good stuff. Now that you get a bit more advantage, you can throw this out as more of a poke, and when you score the counter hit, you just collect a massive, powerful combo. On block, it's still safe at -9, but I don't know if this is major either. Like, they're giving her more advantage on hit so she can maintain momentum. But, you know, it doesn't really change the way she plays or strategizes, really. But there you go, +4. Next, we've got Toucan Tail. So this is a contentious move, right? This is a new move that they gave her. She didn't used to have this, but then they gave it to her and they tried to make this, I guess, a signature move of the character. It's really good. For a big low that's 25 frames to impact, you'd be surprised how easily you can hit very good players with this move. You do it all the time when you play this character. I mean, if you're sitting offline across from JDCR and he's drinking like 5 Red Bulls, then he's probably going to see it and block it, but that's not the situation you find yourself in when you're playing, you know, everyday online Tekken. And you still get, you know, powerful guaranteed follow-ups for counter hitting with this. It goes under a bunch of stuff. It's just a good move. It's one of her few ways of being really, really dangerous on the approach. You know, a lot of her stuff is linear, but this thing you can use for hitting people on the ground and has some sort of sneaky tracking if you use it the right way. So it's a good move. And it's gone from... Let's have a look, from a -1 to +1 frame. So you now get advantage for hitting with this, where you used to get a little bit of disadvantage on hit, not block, mind you, which is important. It's also important to note that this move is -14 on block, so not launch punishable in most matchups, but in some. And so if you are going to be applying a lot of Toucan Tail, be aware of you know, what character you're playing against and at which frame they start actually launching lows. But there you go, yeah, so you can do some stuff, maybe go into while standing. I mean, I can see this into a while standing 4 being really quite good right now, because the while standing 4, of course, being 11 frames to impact, is going to basically beat anything your opponent can do. It's going to come out at the same speed as their jabs. The one thing you might have to be careful about is like 10 frame counter hit moves, but maybe you crush those on the way up, who knows. Yeah, I can see this being really quite useful. It's kind of like you used to get in with this and then capitalize with a counter hit, but now you can get in and then you can actually do something, you know? For example, while standing 4 and then maybe mix that with a couple of these, you know? People love this move, right? Yeah, I can see this being something that actually matters, even though it's just a tiny change of 2 frames. But it is the difference between disadvantage and advantage, and that's quite big. Next, her slash kick, or it's not really a slash kick, it's her while running or forward 3, and this is now +5 on block. So the thing about this, let's make Leo block it, is that even though you get advantage for having this blocked, it really used to be difficult to do something after it because of pushback, but it looks like now you're still in range for like your counter hit 4, maybe down forward 1, even though it had a range nerf, still reaches. Okay, so you can actually apply a good mix-up now after you have this move blocked, so that's pretty cool. Let's try the slide shoot, works as well. Really cool. Okay, so +5 means that you can run in with this, get your plus frames on block, and then actually apply mix-ups now. Really great. But Katarina, you know, with this move and with the running move, with a bunch of her approaching tools, her problem is linearity. And that hasn't really been mitigated, I suppose. Her only homing moves, especially from a range, are like super slow, like this thing. So, yeah, if you don't like Katarina, work on stepping and walking her to the sides. But yeah, it's nice. I can see this being good for like Oki now as well. You run in, they get up, they block this. It's kind of Lucky Chloe-esque, you know, she has that move as well. Lee has something similar as well, but then those moves are all really easy to sidestep. And next, while crouching, it says, or while, or full crouch as we say, down forward 4, so this move, the Toucan Tail's little brother, and the low you use for your full crouch mix-up. This move is powerful. Counter hits, again, you get stuff, which is great. It's 17 frames to impact, so completely unseeable, unlike the larger version that you do from a range. This is just a great, fast little thing that you use for full crouch mix-ups with Katarina, but this one is launch punishable to make up for the fact that it is so much faster. But yeah, I think you do have a full crouch mix-up with this character thanks to this move, and a lot of the power comes from, you know, the counter properties. So this has also gone from advantage to disadvantage, disadvantage to advantage. Let's have a look. Yeah, from ±0 to +1. So from no advantage, to a little bit of advantage. Again, you hit with this, and now you can actually mix your while standing 4 with maybe another one of these. So it seems like they've wanted to give her just a little bit of a window for some full crouch stuff, but they don't want it to be oppressive, so they've made it very mild, you know, a single frame of advantage. If this was like +3, it would be extremely oppressive, I think. So maybe this makes sense. Okay, cool. Final change, and the big one that I wanted to talk about, is a change to Harrier 1, and I think this is their attempt to continue to modify the balancing of this 4/4 string that they've been worrying about since this character was initially put into the game. But check this out. So it has changed properties when it counter hits, right? Let's see here. During Harrier 1, change the opponent's behavior when the move lands as a counter hit. Reduce the strength of the pushback, making it easier to land. Okay. So look at this counter hit. It's going to knock the opponent down in this kind of weird and unique way to the side, which is cool, and you can actually get stuff here. I know you can get a guaranteed toucan tail right there. It doesn't seem like you're going to be able to like rush in and get the stomp or anything. It's just a little bit too slow. I don't even think you can get access ramp here. Maybe. It's very possible. But toucan tail is good enough that it really matters. Maybe you can get that. But you can definitely get this. You can see the combo counter and everything. So what does this mean? Well, Harrier 1 is a pretty good move. It is high, but you have powerful mids that you can mix this with now. The fact that the Harrier 4 has been turned into a safe move with wall bounce properties is pretty cool. You still don't really have a low to make the mix-up from Harrier work. We talked about this yesterday with Gigas. I don't like mix-up stances that don't have true mix-up potential, and I don't like when they throw in completely breakable throws and they expect you to use that as a substitute for good mix-up lows, because good players break throws a lot, right? It's the exact same thing with Gigas, exact same problem with her. But yeah, if they can't break the throw, this works, and Now, there's a little bit more stopping power to this high. Yeah, the stance is empowered yet again, but it still doesn't quite work for mix-ups. But the reason I said this has to do with your 444 string is, okay, the way this move works now, they tried to find a sneaky way to make this move less suppressive and annoying, but still useful. So the way they did it is, they made it -10, right? Like that, so you can punish that now with a 10 frame move. But if you do the Harrier transition into Harrier 1, that move they gave high crush properties, and so all 10 frame moves in the game, 10 frames to impact moves in the game, are highs, which means that if you do this, you beat all of them. And so the rabbit hole goes a little bit deeper with the string. The opponent can punish you, but if you go for the Harrier 1, then they can they're going to get crushed and hit by that. But then again, Harrier 1 is a high, so they can predict that and then duck that, and then they can launch you from outstanding. But then again, maybe if they try and do that, you do a mid instead. So you can see that it's there's actually a lot of mind game and sort of layers going on to this string right now. But the fact that one of the main tools in that whole enchilada, you know, the Harrier 1 is a bit more powerful on counter. Just a cool thing. I mean, counter hits from Harrier in general are just really powerful now. But yeah, so overall, do I like these changes? Do I think they make sense? Absolutely. It's not going to make Katarina a great character. I like this patch overall because I think if you ask me what were the like 4 weakest characters in this game, I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure about this. I haven't thought enough about it, but I might have realistically said Lucky Chloe, Katarina, Gigas, and Eliza, and those 4 characters got buffed, and then there were some, you know, Hell Sweep nerfs and some Leroy nerfs and other stuff that made sense. So I think people are excited about this patch because it's attention in the right places, but it's not necessarily going to shake up the meta in a dramatic way as far as I can tell. So far, the character that we've looked at with the fewest changes, Eliza, is the one that actually had the most significant ones, and I'm very happy about that. If you are a Katarina player, yes, I do think you're going to do a little bit better and have some fun with your new tools, but it's not exactly what I was hoping for. And honestly, big lows is like a thing with her, but it's also one of the reasons people don't really like the character. And so if you want this character to be more popular, explored by more people, maybe put a little bit more of the attention away from, you know, applying oppressive large lows. Maybe give her good down forward one back. I mean, it's still good, but it's not as good as it used to be. And give her some other stuff to focus on. Maybe, you know, some other useful fast lows that she can poke with and set up stuff with. Who knows? Let me know what you think, but that's Katarina. I'll see you guys in the next video.